inappropriate times at the dinner table? Is her epic dance moves and poses? Is it her hair? That alone? But yeah, in trying to decide what makes her so great, I realized it's her ability to make you feel special. She really is just so wonderful at that, which has been in her career and young life and everything she's done. And in growing up with me, it's been such a blessing to grow up with her. The 5-year age difference never made any matter to us. I loved hanging out with Katy, and she loved hanging out with the baby as much as I liked hanging out with my cool older sister. And I know that she always made me feel included, and we were going to have a great time no matter what we did, whether we were going to get cupcakes or just going to Target. So I'm so thrilled for Evan that he gets to have your daily companionship as his wife. Because I know that your marriage is going to be filled with so much fun and so much love. And I'm just so thrilled for that. And I'm so thrilled to get to know Evan more at all of our occasions as a family now. I'm so happy to welcome you to the Johnston family. And so happy that Katie's now a Bassett. So without further ado, raise your glass to Katy and Evan.
Yay! Awesome.
Now I'd like to introduce Omer, the groom's best man.
Thank you. It's an honor to be Evan's best man. And I know that a lot of you have known Evan longer than I have. And hopefully, what I'll convey, you'll understand.
Awesome, John.
The fire that is our relationship, even though it has not been going on for long, it's going strong. That's what matters. We actually have Evan's Aunt Wendy to thank for when we met, which was just a couple years ago. So Evan came out to the Bay Area for spring break, and he was going through a rough time, which I would later realize was an understatement. And Wendy, being a wonderful, kind aunt, she wanted to make sure that I got a chance to talk to Evan while he was in town and to make him feel better because he'd been going through a lot, and she thought that we would have a lot in common and that maybe we would hit it off. So she organized this situation where after church on Sunday we would eat at Chipotle. And so we were all, a bunch of us were sitting, talking, and hanging out, but we didn't actually get around to talking to each other until towards the very end of that, because Evan and I are both introverts, and even though Wendy had told both of us that we should talk to each other at some point, we actually hadn't gotten around to it. And so it was actually Christine, my wife, who finally set it in motion towards the end. She said, "So Evan, I hear that you are considering doing biblical studies for grad school." And so then that opened the door for him and me to talk, and within a minute, we had both come to the realization that we both had the exact same all-time favorite Bible scholar, N.T. Wright. And if you don't have the pleasure of having a favorite Bible scholar, I tell you, you're missing out, and it should be N.T. Wright. So and I think that the way, how quickly we got along epitomizes how our relationship has been since then, and that's why we clicked instantly. And it was also amazing for me to see that. So the more I got to know Evan and the more I got to know his family, to realize just how rough the year had been leading up to when I met him. And I remember in one of the many things I thought about that was wow, that was the worst year of his life. And he actually wasn't that tough to get along with. And so I was like, our relationship's only going to get better and easier from here on out. And that's what it's been. Evan has been happier every day in the 2 years that I've known him. I like to think that I have a lot to do with it, but obviously Katy is a stronger predictor of Evan's happiness at this point. So it has been great to see how we've serendipitously clicked over time. There have been many cases where I've been able to live my life vicariously through Evan, because he has several things that I don't know, maybe if I had lived a different life, I would have wanted. So one, for example, is that through him, I can live what it's like to be so handsome and look like Justin Timberlake. And like to think that, like, what would happen if Justin Timberlake were a Bible scholar? I've also, I will always be an amateur Bible scholar at best, but I've gotten to experience Evan's world through him about being a pro at it, and that's been wonderful. And I've also enjoyed vicariously seeing Evan's experience and being part of a family that gets along really well, and they actually love each other, and they click well, and they're awesome. The Bassett family has been, it's been amazing to get to know them through Evan. And they, in our minds, they stand out as the strongest example of a family that, as a group, are willing to do whatever it takes to follow Jesus, and to do it together as a team, and not to leave anybody behind in the process. And we, as far as living vicariously can go, we can't be in the Bassett family, but Christine and I have settled for wanting to be like them. And so we're thankful that you opened that door to us there. It's also the case, too, I think just a couple months ago, just in terms of how magically Evan and I click, I bought a commentary on Ephesians off of Amazon, only to find out that it was previously owned by Evan. We hadn't talked about it, but that was the case. He sold it to his school's bookstore, and they sold it on Amazon, and I bought it through them. But that's the life that we live. That's how this works. And I'm so thankful that it ended up working out that Evan got to go to Fuller Theological Seminary for grad school, because that meant him being on the correct side of this country. And I want to say that, like, I want to take credit for that, because I think when he was applying for grad schools, I tossed around the idea, like, you could go to Fuller, we'd only be 5 hours apart. And eventually that is, in fact, what happened. He went there, and I didn't know, and Evan didn't know, that the greatest thing that would happen at Fuller wouldn't actually be the launching point of his career, would be meeting Katy. So, I do research in consumer psychology. That's my job, and one of the strongest predictors of how you will evaluate a new experience or a new impression of somebody, positive or negative, is what your expectations are of that encounter before it happens. And boy, did we have high expectations of what it would be like when we met Katy, especially because this first time was supposed to be this like glorious trip that you and Katy made up to the Bay Area together, where you met a lot of the extended friends and family that are here. Christine and I had to be out of town for an emergency. And so legends grew in our absence about how amazing Katy was. She got along with everybody and all the family, the Bassetts, the Everetts, the Smiths. They all loved her, and it was fantastic. But we still hadn't gotten a chance to see her. And so it would have been half a year later that we actually got our first chance to meet Katy. So Christine, Justice, our son Justice, and I went down to Pasadena together for an NT Wright conference at Fuller, how fitting. And that was the first time that we met Katy. And after that weekend was over, Christine and I honestly said that was by far the most positive first impression we've ever had of any of our friends' significant others, ever. And like we loved you instantly. And I mean, it came so easy for me to really love Evan, and it came very easy for us to love you too. We're so thankful that he has you. It helped us to reflect on just the nature of how you two get along really well. Evan and I are the kinds of people who we need certain types of people in our lives to make our lives not fall apart. And he and I, and Evan more than me, tend to have very, very strong opinions about many things. And we tend to be way more confident than we should be for a lot of things that we say. And in my life, I've had the blessing of having a wife like Christine, who is stable and calm and balanced, and who is also yet at the same time very supportive, but also challenging when she needs to be, and who isn't afraid to tell me what's what. And Katy is exactly that for you. And that is exactly what you needed because you lack all of those qualities. It's a great balance. So we're really excited to see how that unfolds over time. And we're also, you can imagine too that means that Katy will seamlessly fit in with the great family that you've had your whole life. So just to wrap up, there's Jesus' prayer with his disciples, his last recorded prayer with them. In it, he said that he prayed to God for his disciples to love each other so well that other people would see that love and they would say, God loves Jesus and God sent Jesus into the world. And I genuinely believe that when people look into your lives and into your marriage, that they will be able to see that. And I'm very excited to be a part of that, and I think that it will be the case that throughout your lives there will be many people who will look at your marriage and say, "Wow, when I look at that marriage, I witness Jesus." And so for that, I'm very thankful that you allowed us to witness your marriage today as a start. Evan, I always tell Evan frequently that I love him so much he's my second favorite Basset, and I can honestly say after today, you're now my third favorite Basset. So thank you so much for choosing Katy. So if you want to raise your glasses, a toast to Evan and Katy. May God bless you, and may Jesus be with you for everything you have for the rest of your lives.
Here, here.